Hi everybody, here's a quick video, well maybe not that quick, to show you how to take through Design Space a new bundle of SVGs to create this beautiful, tall camellia rose vase. So it's files to make the roses, all the foliage and the vase with the lovely bow trim. That's the general picture I've made up for YouTube there. There's some close-ups here of the actual pieces. I really love this. The vase just on its own is a beautiful shape and a really useful thing. That's the whole bouquet again. If I can just show you the top of the vase, yeah, you get a choice of flower arranging grids to stick inside here. This one is the larger one with fewer holes, so the bigger holes but less of them, and then the other one has smaller holes and more of them, just depending on what kind of stems you're going to use, because obviously you'll use this vase for other projects, not just this one that I've got here. So there's a vase from the back. I really love it. It's so elegant. That's a close-up on the gorgeous rose. And there's the vase from the front. On this one, I've just got the border trim. And on the gold one, you can see I've used the inside of those borders and added those on alternate walls. So you can get a different look with it that way. And of course, you don't have to put any trim at all. You can just leave it completely blank. Right, so we'll go to Design Space and I'll bring the vase in first because that's the simplest bit. Well, none of it's difficult, but I think the vase is just a bit more. What on earth have I done there? I've been deleting some files. I think they must have got selected somehow. Right. So, as usual, the first thing you've got to do when you bring in any multi-part file that's got score lines, you've got to convert the lines that come in as cuts but which we need to be scores. We can't make them come in already set to score, unfortunately. So it lands on your canvas, it's already selected, so your first step is just to ungroup it. I'm on the desktop version for PC, so ungroup for me is at the top of the layers panel over here on the right. Once you ungroup it, you can see the two subgroups within it, and in my SVGs, that first subgroup is where the lines that need converting to scores always live, always in that first group. So all you need to do is click on the name of the group. If you open it, you can see everything that's in it, but you don't have to have it open. Just select it, go to your operations menu, click score. You can see that they've been converted now, and while it's still selected, then we do need to ungroup it. That's so we can attach it to individual pieces later on. Then select that group underneath that contains all the cut pieces, and we have to ungroup that. So now everything on screen is a separate piece, and we can attach individual scores to the pieces that they relate to. Quickest way to do that, I think, click on canvas somewhere near a piece, drag a box to enclose it, and click attach, which for desktop version for PC, it's at the bottom of your layers panel. That's the base of the vase, nothing there. This is that flower arranging grid I was talking about. That's the one with larger, fewer holes. This is the one with more smaller holes. This is the wall of the vase. It's a 12-sided vase, is this one, which sounds complicated, but it's not really. It's very repetitive, very quick to assemble, especially if you use a nice, strong, double-sided tape. So I don't give you 12 because you'd only have 12 sets of scores to attach, and that seems a bit pointless. So we'll duplicate that one or copy and paste it, however you want to do it. Duplicate button is here at the top of the layers panel. If you're on PC, you can also use Control D on your keyboard, like I'm doing there. So we've got 4 there. If we duplicate that, we've got 8. Duplicate that, we've got 12. Right, so if we click Make It, won't save it this time, we'll see that we can choose A4 for everything. I think, yeah, every piece of this project will fit on A4. Well, that's interesting. Legal, has that always been there, legal? I think that's a new thing. Anyway, sorry, I got sidetracked there. So they will fit on A4. That must be, I need to check into that. I think I've made that a different pink. I will fix that before I release the SVG, but obviously that would go on with everything else. I'm just going to go to colour. Yeah, look, I've obviously just set that a slightly different pink in the SVG, but I'll fix that before you get it. Right, so we'll do that again. You can choose letter for some of it, but not for the walls. They're too long. Let's have a look. Letter is 279. Yeah, they just won't cut. I mean, they might if you were being really frugal, but I think in the US, if you can't get A4, you're probably looking at using 12 by 12. So let's see what happens if we pick 12 by 12. I think you could probably squeeze another one on there if you did this. If you twizzled those round, move those over, save a little bit of space. I wonder if another one would move onto there. It would. So, but I would do that on canvas, so you're not doing it every time you make the vase. So create 6 lots of walls, threaded together like that, and attach them. And if you're cutting on 12 by 12, they'll come through automatically like that. And then you'd need one more for these bits here, because these bits would go onto that other mat once those walls were squeezed onto that. So if we use 12 by 12, you'd need 1, 2, 3, 4 sheets of 12 by 12 to make the vase. And we'll just but as I said, it will cut from A4 if you're in Europe or the if you're in Europe, I was going to say Europe or the UK, but we're in Europe, aren't we? Sort of. Right, yeah, you'd get 4, I think. Yep. Oh, would you? I think you would if you take a bit more time to move things around than I did. Yeah, you'd get 4 on an A4. But as I say, again, if I was doing this, I would set these up on the canvas. I'll just show you what I'm talking about there. So if you do it on the mat, with Design Space, it doesn't save your layouts, does it? So if you were cutting from 12 by 12, do your arranging on the canvas. Just going to copy and paste those because they're turned the right way around. I'll just zoom in a little bit. And I'm copying and pasting there to get 6. Yes, 292 is the maximum size. So we would just go align top to make sure they're all nice and tidy and attach them. And then copy and paste that. So we've got 6 walls, 2 sets of 6, and they would all now go in that arrangement on a 12 by 12. And if you saved your project, you'd never need to do that again. And then everything else that's pink obviously will go on another 12 by 12, won't it? Especially because when you're making it, you'll only make one flower arranging grid. You'll decide which one you want and you'll get rid of the other one. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward for the vase. Don't hesitate to ask me if you've got any more questions. If I went a little bit quickly there, you can always ask me on Etsy or Facebook if you get stuck with anything. So we'll get rid of that and I'll bring in the rose, which is there. So if I just go back to the pictures and find a good one of the rose. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. So it's got, the rose is made up of 7 layers of petals, and then you've got a big curving sepal, and that helps to hold the flower together a bit. Then you've got a smaller, sharper, pointy one underneath, and then you've got sort of a 3-leaf assembly thing that goes underneath all that, and then individual leaves that you just place anywhere you want them on your stem, although I do recommend where to put them so that they fall in a good place for the vase. So back to this. That was interesting, wasn't it? And there those parts all are. We've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers for the actual flower, which seems like a lot, but they're very quick to put together once you get going. And then every flower needs this big sepal here, and then the little one underneath it. That's just sort of to make the attachment to the stem a little bit stronger. And then the leaves are obviously for decoration. Right, so it lands on your canvas selected. We do need to ungroup it. And then you can see that some of the petal layers are numbered. That number matters when you come to assemble it because they are slightly different sizes. So to make sure that those cuts end up on the flower, we just need to attach them. So attach is down here. When I'm working on my PC, I always use Alt-A on my keyboard just because it's faster. You're not moving your mouse around as much, and I quite like keyboard shortcuts. Right, so those are the 5 numbered pieces. You get 2 number 4s. That's why there's no number 5. The number 4s are the same size. And then you get these 2 6-petal pieces which go on the bottom. Don't worry about this. You're given a really, really thorough PDF of instructions of how to assemble this. I'm just explaining why they're numbered and why they look a little bit different. So what you could do is just hit make it. You need 12 roses for this bouquet if you make it at the size it's designed. So you could just go 12 and apply, and then choose the paper that you're going to be using. But obviously, if you do that, Design Space is just going to lay these out exactly as it wants, and it's not always the most economical layout, is it? I mean, look at that. If Design Space does it, it wants 41 sheets of A4, which would make this very expensive indeed, wouldn't it? So I'm just going to show you. I might need to do a new window to do it, mightn't I? File, new window. I'm going to show you what I made. Where is it? Yes, 12 camellia roses. So what I did, it takes a while. It takes a while, but once you've done it, it's there to just to turn on, and you could just press make it, and it would cut everything in the right layout. So I've tried to keep it in this layout. I'm not really telling you to do this. I'm just showing you what I did so that if you wanted to, you could do the same. So I decided that I wanted to cut these on A4. So I created all the petals I needed to make 12 flowers and leaves and everything, to make 12 roses, and then to get the best layout I could, I brought a shape onto the canvas. I'll just show you what I did. I'm sure you've seen this kind of thing before, but for those of you who haven't, it might be useful. Brought a shape in, and I made it A4 size, because even though, well, I'll just do it and then we'll talk about it. So you need to unlock that padlock first. A4 is 21 centimeters by 29.7 centimeters. Now that's the actual size of an A4. It is not what Cricut says is the maximum cutting area of an A4, which is considerably smaller. It's 19.7 by 28.3. So you're losing quite a bit of paper. So I set these up, just send that to the back. I set these up just on an A4 sheet because I knew I was going to use the standard mat anyway, and it would be okay if I said yes, I'm cutting these on 12 by 12, because then I will just position my A4 on the mat where I know it needs to go to make the most of the space. So if I just click make it, I can explain what I'm talking about there. I know I'm talking about A4 and not everybody can use A4, but the method would be exactly the same for you if you were working with letter, or 12 by 12 indeed, if that's what you were using. So if you look at that, I can't choose A4 because even though I know these pieces will cut from A4, Design Space thinks they won't. So I would choose, that's interesting, it won't even let me choose 12 by 12. Oh, I know what I did. Yes, so 29.2 is the maximum cutting area on a sheet of 12 by 12. So what I actually did with these was, it's 0.1, it's 1 millimeter too big. So what I actually did with these, I made them 29.2. The padlock is locked, so it's going to do it in proportion. And so now they will fit on 12 by 12 those, and they are tiny, 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 tiny bit smaller than they should be, but they will cut using the short mat, standard mat. So again with that one, I just made it 29.2, which is about a millimeter shorter overall. I think that might be the only one that's the issue. We'll try that again. thought it was going to do that glitchy thing then. So yeah, so I'm going to choose 12 by 12, but I am actually going to cut that on A4. And all I will do is, when I place my A4, well I did, when I placed my A4 on the mat, I just dropped it about 3mm down away from the top and about 3mm over from that left hand side, and then there was actually plenty of room to cut this. I mean, an A4 is 297. You can see it's on about that there, so if I'm dropping my page down, it is going to be plenty big enough, and it was. That's what I did for all the mats in this thing. So I think if you remember before, it said we needed about, what was it, 42, 45 or something sheets. So we'll just, all the green there is on A4. I think all these, all right, we've got the same thing there. Okay, hang on. We just need to nip back. What's that? That's fine. That's fine. There's some that are too big, I think. That's not. Must be these. Yeah, 29.35. So again, I'm going to make those 29.2. It won't matter. That's a tiny, tiny bit smaller than they should be, really. It's 1mm over the whole length of the page. It's not noticeable. And I think now I'll be able to choose 12 by 12 for everything. But of course, I'm actually using A4. Right, so A4 there. Gosh, that's tiresome. At least I'll be able to see which ones are causing the problem if I do that. Yes, but once that is sorted out, I will be able to get those on 2 sheets of 12 by 12. I don't know why it's keeping doing this. I promise you this does work. But the point I'm trying to make is that I'm cutting this on A4, and you can see if you spend time setting the project up, you can literally halve the quantity of paper that you need. Design Space wanted about, what was it, 42, 45 sheets of A4, but by setting up your own layouts and attaching them on your canvas, saving it as a project, it's 22 sheets of A4 to make 12 roses, which is pretty good really, because they're big, these flowers, they're not tiny. That's 12 roses and all the foliage that goes with them. I think that's pretty good. Right, there must be something on there that's still too big. I wonder which ones it is. Oh, it could be the width, of course. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. I think you get what I'm driving at. If there's anything that's just a bit too big, you can just make it fractionally smaller up there, keeping it in proportion, just to be economical and save that, because they're not cheap. They take a long time and a lot of materials, these bouquets. I think they're a real labour of love when you make them. So anytime you can just save a little bit of paper, or in this case half the paper that Design Space wanted you to use, it's worth setting your project up like this on the canvas. I mean, you cannot do what I do. You could bring a shape in that was actually the maximum cutting area of the paper that you're going to use. I just like to be a little bit clever and make the most of that extra space on an A4, because it really can make a huge difference. Right, I think I've gone on enough there. If you've got any questions when you come to cut or assemble it, please don't hesitate to get in touch. I'm always happy to help. You can contact me on Etsy or Facebook. The way to do that is in the description below. And if you've just stumbled across this video and you'd like to buy the SVG, the link to do that is there as well. Don't forget, if you're purchasing 3 or more SVG files at one time from the Tanglecrafts Studio Etsy shop, the link is in the description, you can use the 30 for 3 discount code to get 30% off your total purchase. This offer runs all the time, but you need to use that code when you check out. And if you haven't already joined the Tanglecrafts Studio Facebook group, join now to get any special Etsy discount codes issued to group members and to take advantage of the free SVG files I give away in the group from time to time. The link to the group is in the description. I hope to see you there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.